Welcome to day 8 of 12 of the 12 Days of Finance. I'm Robin. I'm a certified financial planner, certified private wealth advisor, wealth manager by trade, and your rich auntie. Today I'm talking about post-retirement tune-ups. A lot of the activity surrounding retirement happens in the 3 to 5 years before retirement, but after you hand in notice, you celebrate your retirement, and you leave the workplace, the work certainly doesn't stop. That's where another chapter of the work begins. And oftentimes you need to have tune-ups with a financial advisor to check the status of your retirement, to check the status of your finances, and make sure things are going according to plan and maybe make adjustments. So what do we do in a retirement tune-up? Stay with me. So retirement tune-ups, I'm always sure to communicate this with the client, that the work that we do together as a client and as a financial professional, the work moves into a new chapter. Typically, I meet with my clients anywhere from 2 to 4 times a year. Sometimes I meet with people more frequently simply because there's an event or activity that really requires a lot of my energy and effort. Some people only want to see me once a year, and some people I have to drive into my office with a whip and a chair to get them to review their accounts and update their information. But typically post-retirement, in the first 5 years to do, tune-ups, you want to meet with a retirement counselor or a financial advisor twice a year, bare minimum once a year. And this is so we can tune up all the accounts. We're taking a look at your asset allocation. We're taking a look at your withdrawal rates, taxes. We're taking a look at your medical expenses, etc. We're basically taking a holistic look at your life, and we're asking the question, is this retirement working? Most times, thankfully, we've done a great job planning. Retirement is working. Sometimes things just don't work out. You're withdrawing too much money. Your allocation is too aggressive or too conservative. You've had some major housing or medical expenses that came out of left field and that weren't really properly calculated out in your initial retirement savings plans. That gives us an opportunity to recalculate and reconfigure your retirement to be in alignment with your new reality. Now, most of the time that we can do that, the person can keep moving along in their retirement, but sometimes the person does have to make dramatic changes. And sometimes those changes include go back to work. Someone goes back to work or works part-time or spends less money, or the house needs to be sold now that you found out it has an extensive foundation issue that's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix. So having those regular conversations with a financial advisor can just help you tune up your retirement, look for areas of opportunity, and keep moving forward with your financial goals. Next, retirement projections are still run. People think, they get their retirement projection on the day that they retire, they dust their hands and walk off, and we never look at the software or retirement projections ever again. That's not true. I often go back in and look at retirement projections to see if the projected outcomes are meeting the actual life outcomes. So it's very important that those projections are run constantly, yearly at least, in retirement, to make sure that we didn't put in a miscalculation that will appear much later in your retirement. Calling your financial advisor in case of major financial changes. Every time someone comes and sits in my office, I ask if there's been any major changes and updates over the past 6 months, and are they expecting any major changes and updates over the next 6 months. I ask the question very specifically because people don't tell me stuff all the time. I ask the question is like, oh yeah, we bought a new house, we're moving to Florida, we just had another kid, or, I'm retiring 2 years early. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me this? Sometimes things, if it's major, an unexpected death, an inheritance, a sudden retirement, you're buying a property, it's probably best to talk to a financial advisor immediately. But don't keep secrets from your financial advisor. And if it's something big, don't wait until your annual appointment to tell your financial advisor, because we need to run new projections and take a look at our calculations to make sure that your numbers still make sense. So have communications with your advisor. So don't forget that things like insurance, health insurance, life insurance, home auto insurance plays a big part in retirement. And we're seeing it right now here in California with the surge of uninsurability and underinsurability of homes. If your financial advisor is a certified financial planner, we have been trained and educated about insurance. I often defer to the experts. I have colleagues that are property casualty experts or health insurance experts, and I often ask their opinion. But it's important to have those documents, those policies regularly updated and reviewed. Also, something that I see in retirement a lot is, property casualty policies that haven't been updated in the last decade, and the value of the house is an older value of the house and is not adequately insured. So when you sit and talk with your financial advisor, occasionally you want to bring your policies, ask questions, and we may refer you out to experts, but we need to know that you have updated health insurance, life insurance, auto property insurance, and that it makes sense for the current values of those items. Estate planning. People often put off estate planning, unfortunately, and it's one of the most important things that you can do for the next generation. With retirement, I often make a plea to the client to sit down with an estate attorney and myself and design all of these important documents, including living trust, POA, and advanced healthcare directives. Something that people don't realize is that once POA and advanced healthcare directives are beyond a certain age, usually 4 or 5 years, many hospitals and many organizations will not honor the POA or the advanced healthcare directive. It's too out of date in order for them to take it seriously. And so the family ends up back into court because they had they named a POA 25 years ago, and the hospital just wasn't checking for it. Now is the time, now that you have some time and you're not working, this is a time to really update all those documents. How often should those documents be refreshed? Probably every 4 or 5 years. So I go through a conversation with clients. We look through the estate documents. We identify the ones that are fine or may need to be redrafted, or maybe documents that need to be completely rewritten. So getting those estate documents in order, getting the people who are mentioned in your estate maybe need to be notified. Like if someone's a successor trustee, that's not a role you want to spring on someone after death. You want to notify them of the role. And having like a safe deposit box or a home safe where all those documents are located really makes sense at this phase. Okay, do you want to give away your money? I deal with a lot of wealthy and ultra wealthy clients, and a lot of their money goes to charity. There are ways we can design that into retirement to make sense for you and to be maximally tax advantageous. For example, required minimum distribution, there's something called qualified charitable distributions. If you have a lot of highly appreciated stocks, there's something called the donor advised fund. There are ways that we can both honor your charitable wishes and optimize your tax situation in retirement. Also, another facet of this, the average age of retirement in the US is 51, which is pretty long in the tooth. I've had some conversations with some clients that do you really want to wait until your kids are in their 50s or 60s to inherit? They're in their 30s and 40s and really financially struggling now, despite the fact that they work and they work hard. Maybe it makes sense to give some of your assets to your kids now versus waiting 20 years on when you pass of this earth, when your kids are already old, when your grandkids are grown, to give away that money. And fortunately, some of my clients really have listened. And so they do gifting to their kids every year, and it's made a tremendous difference in the next generation's lives. It alleviates some of the financial pressure that they were feeling, and that money can go towards good sources, which is often the grandkids, and to the family. So there are many ways that we can use retirement to benefit the community or benefit the family, but you have to work with a good financial advisor to know how to optimize this to your advantage. Finally, home checks. I go to a lot of home visits for my clients, and for my clients who are 65 and over, I'm very well aware of the house and the environment. If you don't die from a heart attack, stroke, cardiovascular issue, or cancer, slips, trips, falls take people out a lot. So when the client retires, typically about 5 years out from retirement, if they're in their 70s by that point, that's when we start changing up the house to make sense for old age. It means tacking down the rugs, adding grab bars, maybe changing out the toilet to a more comfortable, higher toilet seat, looking at the bed, can they easily get in and out of the bed, taking a look at their vehicle, can they easily get in and out of vehicle. And if they can do that right now, we know that in sometime over the next 5, maybe 10, if they're lucky, years, they may not have the same capability. And we want to get those changes to the house and to the car made while they are capable of making those changes. So there you have it. In looking at tuning up retirement, 5 years post-retirement, those are typically the things I look at as a financial advisor. If you've done a post-retirement tune-up, why don't you tell me in the comments section what you look for? And if you found this information useful, please like, share, and subscribe.